Alright guys, I'm going to attempt to do a quick video on how to create a custom profile for your Lian Li 8.8-inch universal screen. I will do my best to show you the things that were asked of me on the Trofeo, for instance, how to add a picture and how to add a video. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into this, and if you guys have any questions, obviously, leave them in the comments, and I will do my best to get back to you. Just a caveat is I have only used this device for a few hours, basically just to try to teach myself how to use it. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So what you're looking at here is the Lian Li L-Connect. It's the primary screen that you come up to. It shows on this tab, it shows your specs. Oops, sorry. On this tab shows your specs, so on and so forth. This is my pump and fan setup currently. Quick sync lighting is if you were just to do a one-click setup for all of the devices that will work through the L-Connect. The Lian Li 8.8-inch screen, which is what we're going to get to today. You can also see a live image of the screen right in front of me, so you have a better idea of how fast the updates take place. The L-Wireless utility is for the wireless parts of the L-Connect system, my fans, and of course, so they have the fan lighting, the exterior lighting. They also have the trim lighting. And then I also have these two screens that are within two of the fans. L-Wireless Sync is where you actually apply I'm assuming it's a radio frequency, to the individual fans and monitors and things of that nature. The universal screen is not a wireless device. It has to be plugged in through USB. And then, of course, you have your settings. I'm not going to go through all that, but it's all there. Okay, so we're going to get back to the screen. Where to start? When you first turn on the screen, it just shows a Lian Li logo, and that is it. So once you are ready to start editing your device, you can highlight or hold your cursor over the screen itself, or the exterior here, the trim, is actually the RGB that is on the device itself. It's got a ring that runs all the way around. And there's lots of setup for that. So if you were to click that, it highlights the RGB, and then within the RGB you can adjust these things. So I showed that on my quick video yesterday, the unboxing video, not exactly a quick video. So like if we were to hit runway here, you can see the colors that are already set. I've set these. You can change them to anything you like, obviously. You would click apply. It's hard to see on the screen at the moment. It still looks white on the screen, but if you look closely, you can see it's kind of wobbling back and forth, but it does change. Let me see if I can get something that's a little bit better. Just like try the static color and change it from white to, let's go to red and see if that shows up. You have to hit apply for it to take place. Wow. What I did wrong here is I did not click. So I click red, indicating I want to go red, but then I have to click this box here. Even though there's only one, I click that. Now it knows it wants to go red, and I hit apply. From what you're seeing, not a lot has changed, but in real life, it is a very pinkish colored red. Not a great video for that. Let me see if I can adjust the lighting here. Lighting's really not helping, but trust me, in real life, it has changed color. Moving on, you can change the brightness of the LEDs. Remember, you have to click apply every time you make a change. You can change the speed if it is a moving effect. So you can see that. And then if you change the speed, we'll go all the way down to the slowest and hit supply. You can see how much slower it is. Go all the way to the fastest setting, and it's substantially faster. All right. Sorry, that seems long-winded. I'm just trying to get as many questions answered before they actually get to me. You also have the ability to change the overall brightness of the screen. I don't know if this will come across on the video, but we'll go ahead and try. Yes, it got very, very, very bright. If you go all the way to 0%, it will turn off. Oh, you don't have to hit apply with this one. All right, so good to know. All right, so now that you know how to adjust the RGB, I'm going to change that back to static so it is not a not hard to look at. Okay, so now we're back. Now we're going to set up our screen. I'm going to show you a couple of quick options before moving on to how you can actually customize it. I will admit that this Cyberpunk one I really like. I wish I could just do a couple edits and leave it, but I have not figured out how yet. That being said, if it didn't say your computer and I could edit that, I would like to do that, but so be it. On the bottom here are some profiles that you can just click to. This is one I've already created, teaching myself how to use it. I'll go ahead and click on that. You click on it, you have to hit apply, and then it'll take effect. So you can see in this one I've put a photo, and then I've applied the sensors that I wanted to apply. This is not a competition video between the Thermalright Trofeo and this device. But that being said, there is substantially more editability on the Trofeo than this device. This device is still great. I am enjoying it. I will talk about the only negative here eventually in the video, but so far it's very easy. It's easy to set up, not as easy as the Trofeo device, the Thermalright device, and it has substantially fewer sensors. But other than that, it looks great. Once you've taught yourself how to use it, it's not that difficult to set it up. So moving forward, you can see that I've got on here. I'm sorry, I can't put my cursor on the screen itself without highlighting the whole screen. So I'll come over here to the little one. You can see that I've put the time on here in 24-hour time. I've put the date on here. I've put my CPU and GPU on here. And then if you take a quick look around, I have the CPU temp and GPU temp. I have the CPU megahertz and the GPU megahertz. Down here I have the drive C temp, that's my NVMe, and so I have drive C and drive C. I have both on the same one, so I'll have to edit that out later. It's not a big deal. It's just a quick change. And then at the bottom I have the how much load the RAM is under, and then how much RAM is in current usage. So it's basically the same thing on those two, but I was just trying to fill up the screen. But you can see just by looking at it, it's not too bad. You don't have a ton of adjustability in size, especially when it comes to the text. You can make the sensors quite a bit, bigger. So take that for what you will. Moving on, if you were interested in creating your own custom theme, or if you will, you would scroll through here, and I'll show you that now. Quickly before I do that, I'm going to show you a couple of their themes. They seem to have it's not a ton, but there's enough for most people. If you were to click on one of these and then hit apply, it will change the screen. You can see that this one's got quite a bit of information, and this is my computer. It's applying my computer sensors to their profile, and it works very well. If you're into the kitty thing, there you go. The text is a little small, so if it's fairly close to you, it shouldn't be an issue. Or if you have great eyesight, it shouldn't be an issue. If you're a little older like myself, and if it's 3 or 4 feet away, you can't read it, then you'd probably either want to customize it yourself or pick one of their other themes. Pick another theme here. This one is fun to look at, but it's very bright, so sometimes the text kind of disappears into the background. They have this one, which is really nice, especially if you want to put it at a distance. It's simple and to the point. It's black and white, so you can see it from a distance. This one's well thought out for a majority of people that actually want to use this for a systems monitor. You scroll down here, if you're into movement, I really like this one as well. That being said, tiny text, especially at a couple of feet. But anyway, I can sit here and show y'all. I typically have been leaving this one up. Remember, I only opened this up less than maybe about 12 hours ago. I like all the information on this, and as long as I keep it fairly close to me, it's easy to read. So there you go. So let's go ahead and create a custom custom setup, if you will. Here are some pre-existing layouts, if you will. And if we click in here, this is where you can actually edit it. But when I click into this and I click onto one of these to edit, it does not give me that ability. I'm not really sure what I'm doing wrong with that. If I click up here, this is where you add images or videos. This is the kind of like preset up layouts. And then modular is where you actually can make your own as you go, and that's what we're going to do. Anywho. So once again, this, if I were just to click it and apply it, it will throw that up there, but I don't have any way of editing it. So I'm not really 100% sure what that's supposed to be for. I'm not knocking it, I'm just telling you, as a person that's used it for 12 hours or so, I don't know, other than just picking this and leaving it on your sensor panel as it is, it's not editable. Not that I can, find. If I save as a template, and then, won't even let me save it as a template. We'll see. Let's go back to the beginning. Nope. Will not even save it as a template. So I'm not really sure what that is for. So I'm yammering. So let's move on here. Oh, hello. I didn't expect anyone to actually jump on, but nice to see. So anyway, so this is nice, but it's not editable so far as I could figure out. So we're just going to click modular. Okay. This is where it all begins. So you can look at all the setups here. There isn't one that just says text like this. I guess this is just text, but it's very limited in what you can edit. So we're gonna start with that one anyway. I'm gonna more or less try to recreate the one that I already created. But so you would click this to indicate that's what you want, and you would click add, and it's gonna add it to your screen. The only way to make it larger text-wise is to increase the whole size of their tab, which is fine. From this point, if you want to change the text, which everyone would unless they like edit text in layout tab, you would click text 1. Oh, well, I guess not. Oh, layout, sorry. So here, once you have multiple things on the screen, this is where you would choose which item you want to edit in layout tab. So edit text in layout tab, you would highlight that or delete it and then change it to something you would like for it to say. We'll say we'll just leave it for what it is. AMD Ryzen 7 9800 X3D. Okay, so we can leave that there. We'll hit update now, and that'll change that. You notice that the font is not something that most people would want. It looks very Times New Roman-y. But we will click this, and then these are all of the fonts. That's it. I'm scrolling up and down. There's nothing else. I will quickly go through these, but first of all, let me make this bigger so that you can see the fonts. So we'll start at the top. That's where we are. Apply. There's another one. That one's actually not too bad. Personal preference. There you go. Okay, I'm going to quickly go through this. If you are already bored of the video, I completely understand. There's another one. And another. Nano bold. Barely any difference there. And then cubic 11 is very 8-bit type. So honestly, this is what I used for the other one I created. So that's what we're going to stick with here. If you want to change the color of the text, you click this as you would anywhere else. We'll pick orange. Get it? So you can click any of these colors. It won't change it over here until you apply it. So we'll click orange because it's the best color, and then we'll hit update. So there you go. So there is our processor. All right. So now we're going to go back to type. Okay, so we're happy with that, and we're going to leave that there. Let's go ahead and add a sensor or two. Okay, so obviously we're going to add CPU temp and GPU temp. You can see all of the graph style and metered style options you have. Anywho, so for temp, here's one that says CPU load, but it doesn't have to be that. So we'll go ahead and try that one. We're going to click on it. We're going to hit add. It's going to put it right here, which is fine. We'll go ahead and edit this before we move it. It says CPU temp. That's what we want. We're going to change the font here. So let's go back to the hyperspace one. And then it says, let's update that. And what of our... I'm not sure what these do. I haven't played with this one yet, so we will go ahead and try orange, bright green. Do that again. Orange, bright green, and we'll update that. So there you go. That's what we get. You can make this bigger, not smaller. That's as small as it goes, but you can make it bigger. I'm going to make this large and in charge for the demo here. So we've already updated it, but to get it to go onto our screen, even though it's showing here, it's not onto our other monitor yet. So we're going to have to apply it. Now you'll notice that the whole screen changes, and that's what we were going for. So we're going to do this again. Now we need another sensor. So type. Okay, we're going to pick which type we want. We could use this one again, but for for the video, we're going to pick a different style here. Let's go with... You can see several of these. This one has squared edges. If you find some of the others, they have rounded edges. We'll go ahead and go with that one. Click it, hit add. Going to show it there again. We're going to move it over here. We're not going to edit it yet because we're not going to resize and color it. We're going to edit it. We can go ahead and try to get it to the size we're going to go for. What I thought is easy is put one of the dots in the lower corner and drag it so that it's similar in size to this one. You can see that I'm using these to go back and forth in between the sensors. So once this is still highlighted, we're going to go back over to layout. It's still in CPU temp, okay? This is all of the sensors. This is every one. If you've seen my video on the Trofeo, you know that there was probably, without trying to exaggerate, 4 or 5 times as many sensors on the Trofeo as on the Lian Li, which is fine. I'm just quoting the fact, not making a positive or negative statement. So we need to go to GPU temperature, and notice there is a Fahrenheit or Celsius. We use Celsius because that's what computer people do. We're going to go to color set. We're going to change that to orange because, once again, it's the best color. And then we're going to update. We are going to change the text. Going to update. The temperature of the sea. I know it's silly, but we are going to change that to red because temperature. And then update the CPU temp here. We're going to change to green because that's what we did on the previous one. Update. So there we go. You can see that there's another sensor we've created. We're happy with it, so we have to hit apply so that it'll take effect. Oink. Takes a split second. And moving on. See, it's not that hard. There's a lot of little steps to get it to do what you want to do. But once you've done it for a few minutes, your mind clicks how to work it, and then you can move forward and start creating some of your custom stuff. I'm going to show you how to add a picture. That being said, that is one of the more difficult things that I found to do. It took me a few minutes. So you can see that, this is where we edit what we've put on. This is where we add additional things. But if we hit add, it's only going to add one of these things. So we have to come over here to images and video. So we click that. From there, we want to add a picture. So we're going to click add. And then, of course, you can read for yourself. We can add a screen capture. this upload materials and editing would be, I'm assuming it's like adding an actual profile someone else has created, because when you click it, it wants you to find a file, which is normal, but we don't have any files that will work with that. So you can upload an animation or like a video and upload a photo. I've found so far that a screen capture has been the easiest to do. It's not a live screen capture. The Trofeo has screen capture as well, but it stays live. So if you were to do anything on your computer while that screen capture is active, anything that moves in front of that screen capture zone will then show up on your monitor. This one does not, which is good. I personally like that. So we'll hit screen capture, and you can notice this is what it's going to capture. So the problem with me currently doing a video is that I'm going to have an issue trying to capture only what I want. So at the moment I have to close this, where I don't want to make it difficult, but I have to open the picture I need first. I can't see it on the video, but on my desktop, see if I can do this for you. On my desktop, right below this picture is another picture that I have edited down to a smaller size. Can I move this for a second? So you can see how small that is, but I had to do all of that outside of the Lian Li software. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that. I'm going to move this off the screen for a minute. I'm going to make this full size. And now it's not moving. Oh well. We'll try to go ahead and go with our screen capture again. So add screen capture. You're going to move this little guy out of the way. Luckily they thought of that. You're going to move our screen capture zone to where we want it. This will not let me move it. That's why you have to, if you're going to screen capture and add the image, it has to be exactly where you want it in whatever software you have created that. Notice that I am completely black all the way across the screen other than the picture I want, and that becomes important when, if there's anything else that you capture, it's going to show up somewhere on your monitor over here. So anyway, I like that at the moment. I wish I could center it, but I'm not going to worry about that for the video. You're going to click the check mark, and you say, yep, that's what you want. You're going to import that. I need to get rid of this and bring this back over. Okay, so when I did that, this is what it saved, which is fine. But all it's doing at the moment is showing me that photo. Remember, it hasn't been added to the screen. So I have to hit apply, and notice that disappeared when it first happened to me. It freaked me out, but that's okay. So we go back to our screen editor, which this time we had to hit modular. I'm not exactly sure. Once again, it's not very intuitive, but it's there. So if I wanted to make it bigger, I can't edit it in the Lian Li Connect software so far as I've found. I would have to go back out, open it up in Paint or one of editing softwares, make this slightly bigger, move it a little bit over, but for the purposes of this video, we're leaving it. So there's our picture. I will show you how to add a video at the very end, just because I don't want to screw anything up. The only video that I currently have on this computer that I can put on here is very white, and it's very difficult to see any of the info. So we'll leave that to the end. But we're going to add 2 more sensors. I don't want this video to take a million hours. Currently, we're already at 23 minutes. But so what else are we going to add here? One way to see the other like right now I can't see the other sensors that are available. So I would have to go into one of the sensors that's already on the screen. I would have to hit the layout of that sensor. I'm not going to change anything, but then from here I can look at the other sensors. And of course this one doesn't have everything that's even available. So we'll go back to the text. That is our text. Oh, there we go. Oh, goodness. Should not be that difficult. Here we go. There's our sensors. So we've got our CPU and GPU temp on there. You can take a quick look, even though there is, 20 maybe. I'm not going to sit here and count them, but a lot of them duplicate. So CPU temp is Fahrenheit and Celsius, and so is GPU and the drive temp. So there's 6 of our limited number of sensors just on what reading you want: Celsius, Fahrenheit, megahertz, gigahertz. But anyway, so then we also have CPU load, we have GPU load, our drive usage, so on and so forth. So let's just get 2 more on here because I want to show you a graph. So we're going to go with the CPU megahertz rate, but I don't want to do that now because I'm actually looking at that on this sensor. So we're going to have to go back to type. We need to know what we want, which is going to be one of these graphs. We're going to click it, and we're going to hit add. It's going to show it to us. Remember, this is as small as it gets. Can't make it any smaller. There's no smaller graphs. There's a larger graph down here at the bottom. So we're going to click that. Now we're going to go into layout to edit it. We're going to change the font before we forget. You can hit update now so you can see the difference. We're going to change this to our CPU megahertz rate. We are going to change some stuff. What do we want to change? So color set. It doesn't tell you what the color set is. So let's go ahead and edit that and see what happens. Orange, click, update. So it just changed. I'm assuming you can barely see here. It changed the graph color and then our actual the number. Sorry, I can't even think of the words. But it changed these 2 things. Changed the graph color and then our digits. Okay, so the color set down here. Once again, it doesn't say color set of what. I'm assuming the word CPU rate, so we'll leave that. We'll go ahead and make it super lime green. Update that, sure did. Megahertz, we'll change that to the lime green as well. So there you go. Notice we're not seeing anything yet because we've got it set up how we want. We have to click apply. Boom, there it goes. So there's that. We're going to add an additional graph, but we have to go back out of this. I'm assuming you can copy and let's try that. Could not hurt. So can I copy this? I sure can. Oh, very nice. We're going to move that over. So it's copied everything. So all I should have to do here is change the CPU megahertz, to GPU megahertz. Okay, we'll update. Apply. Very nice. So that was actually, very handy. Didn't take but a few seconds. So now we've created the CPU temp in megahertz. We've created the GPU temp in its megahertz. We've got our CPU. We've got 2 more little ones down here. They're going to be a little bit more difficult to come up with because it's very difficult to change the sizes on this stuff. It comes onto the screen in its smallest format. So let's maybe do time and date. We don't really need to know A or PM. Okay, do we need seconds? Why not? So we'll click that. We're going to click add. We're going to move that down here. I'm going to try to set it in a nice corner. We're going to resize it. We're going to go to layout. We're going to change that text. We're going to change the color to, what are we going to change? We may as well stick with orange. Orange, update. So there we go, 24-hour time. There are other selections in there that are not 24-hour time. At this point, you could make it larger and move it. There you go, update, apply. I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going to go back and find the date. Here's our date. I don't know why it's 2020 in their world. Try to make this a similar size to the previous one. Go to layout, change that text font, change that to orange, update, just slightly smaller than the other one. Anywho, so there we go, apply. See up here, other than the fact that I didn't center my picture, it is, it's a pretty quick setup. I am at the 30-minute mark, almost exactly as we speak. I'm going to leave that there. We could save this as a template as is, and I'll click that, and then if we go back out, we can see there it is. This is what we just created. It's very similar to the one I created before, but I did that on purpose because that's how I trained myself. We can go back into this, though, by going back to custom theme. So say we want to add a video to this, okay? This too is, the way I've done it is the exact same way I did the previous adding the picture. So we're going to hit update. No, there's nothing to update. We're going to go to image and video. We're going to go to add. We're going to go to upload animations. And I happen to have it saved right here, so we're going to click that. I have not found anything outside of MP4 or GIF that it allowed. If you have a file, you might have to convert it to one of these two formats if it's not already. MP4 you should be able to do on your computer. GIF you might have to go outside of your computer to a converter, but most computers can change to a GIF. But anyway, so you click on the file you want and you hit open. It's going to take a second to render it, and it's going to stretch it out to the size of your screen. You don't have an option to edit that either. I really wish you could. I have not found. If you click edit, it just rolls you right back to it. Nothing happens. I will do my best to spend a little time and see if I could figure out a way to edit that, but at the moment it makes you go full screen. So if I click that, there we go. I know it deleted our other information. It's not really. It's just showing us what we just added on top. So if we go back, if we go back to modular, so it's there, and if we hit apply, it's going to apply the video, but underneath our current information, which is nice. At least it does that. So there you go. You can see that the orange does not really play very well with my color scheme, but you can see on the screen down here that it works, and it works fairly quickly. I know I didn't get into all of the ins and outs, but for most people that are just looking to see how to start playing with this and possibly create a quick little profile before, spending a little more time, I think that's pretty much what most people are going to want to see. Appreciate you watching the video. Once again, you can throw questions in the comments. I will do my best to answer them as quickly as possible. I said I was going to kind of get this video created over the weekend, but after playing around with the software for 20 or 30 minutes, I realized that I could get this cranked out today. So if anybody was interested, and if they, interested in this software or in this device, this might help them make a little bit better of a decision. Before I sign off, I did want to cover one topic. I had a question on the video that I posted on the Lian Li 8.8 inch universal screen, and it was an outstanding question. The question was, now that I've had both the Trofeo and the Lian Li, which one would I buy? And that's a great question. And the person even went more into depth and said, based on the price, the software, more or less the usability, so on and so forth. And that thought was already in my head for my next video, and that's really, I think, what kind of spurred me into making this video today. Because that's a great question. Because both of these are very nice, fairly simple to use systems monitors. They have positives and negatives on both sides. I had the Lian Li software already on my computer because I already run the wireless fans, so I already have some monitors in there. All of my fans use the Lian Li L-Connect software, and for these fans, in my opinion, the software is a necessity. These fans have 3 areas of editability, but only if you're using the L-Connect software. That being said, if I already have the software and I'm already going to stick with it, this screen seems like it would be an ideal add. That being said, this screen costs twice as much as the Trofeo. So take that for what you will. I paid $84-ish for this. That's quite a bit. I normally would not spend that much money just for a systems monitor. Not because I already had systems monitors, but that's just a lot of money. Knowing that the Trofeo's out there for $40 again, I don't know if that's Black Friday, but it was $37 when I looked yesterday. Given the two prices, I would go with the Trofeo. Now, when it comes to customizability, the Trofeo wins. It's got much more customizability, and yet it's a little bit more difficult to learn because the ins and outs are very different. That being said, take that for what you will. When it comes to quality, I don't really notice a huge difference in quality. They seem like nearly identical devices. Once again, they have their positives and negatives. The Lian Li device has a slightly larger, smaller resolution, but a slightly higher refresh rate. And then the Trofeo has a slightly smaller screen size. Oh, good Lord, I'm confusing myself. You know what? Just to be safe, because I don't want to tell somebody the wrong thing. Let me open up. I don't even have to do it on that screen. Excellent. So I'm going to open up my YouTube and look at my reply to his question this morning, because it was such a good question. Manage videos, comments. Sorry, here we go. Alrighty. I'm not gonna read this verbatim. I just want to make sure I'm getting the right info here. It says the picture, the monitor, it's a tie. The Lian Li has a better resolution at 1920 by 480, but has a lower refresh rate of 60 hertz. The Trofeo has a 1280 by 480 size, and that's the larger of the two Trofeos, but it has a higher refresh rate of 75 hertz. Those are still super close. But there's a lot of people out there that would make a decision based on the refresh rate. So that's up to you. Each one has a positive in whether it's the screen size or the refresh, and the other one has a negative based on those same two criteria. But anyway, the one negative, and this is not a be-all, end-all, and I'm hoping that this is just a singularity that I'm dealing with, is that this tiny little USB plug that plugs into the monitor here, it's just absolutely tiny. I thought it was that was causing issues. If I moved the device at all, it would become disconnected, and you would see that the universal screen on this on my editing software, it would disappear. It turns out that it's actually this USB, the connector, the internal plug that comes off of the device to the adapter that you can run to a regular USB. That's the problem. I don't know why, but if I touch that and it in any way, shape, or form, I lose my connection. I don't have a way of correcting that, because this plug that comes straight off the device is proprietary. I wish if it was a normal USB-C, I could just swap that cable out. I have USB-C to USB-C internal header plugs. I just don't have their proprietary one. It's not a negative. It's just the way it is. So my ending decision when I answered the individual this morning is, if currently, if I were to be deciding on whether to buy the Lian Li or the Trofeo, I would buy the Trofeo. It's half the price, and it's got better sensor utilization, and it's the negatives are underwhelmed by the negatives on this one, and they're not super bad. I like this one because of its mounting system. I can mount it in the case, I can mount it outside of the case. They take care of all that for you. You get this little guy over here, and with that you can put it in the case. I'm trying to show you. You can put it in the case by mounting it to the fans themselves. You can double-sided tape, which they give you two pieces of 3M VHB, very high bond. They've gone above and beyond to give you everything you need to make this monitor work for you. It's maybe just a little bit too easy to use on the software because it limits you. The Trofeo's got a little bit more editability. And for the price, I would go with it currently. If I can figure out a way that I can deal with this plug so that I can move this around without it losing connection every time I do, then I might change that, even though it's quite a bit more expensive. I can sit here and gab all day, but that's it for me for today. Thanks for watching the video. If you have questions, I've said that twice already, but throw them in the comments down below. I'll do my best to get back to you. I am working the next 2 days. I only say that because I work. I've got to be at work at 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't get off of work until 6, which means I don't get home till 7. So there's not a lot of time for me to jump on the computer, but I only work the 2 days. So if you have questions, I will be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. It might be Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Have a great day. Good go ahead and carry on. And it's been great. Thanks. Bye bye.